just let you know that this is really aimed not at experts, it's aimed at people like you and me, so I'm not an expert in this. If you have any questions that you want answering, there are a load of experts in the room. Please write on those yellow pieces of paper and put them up there, and I asked people who may know the answers to put the answers up. And there should also be a few white cards, so if you have any connections with retrofitting, or if you know anyone who has connections with retrofitting, please do put your name and the information on those cards, and we will type them up and make sure they're available, hopefully on our website. So please do that. Ready when you are. So this is what this talk is covering. So first of all, some basic principles, and then really small interventions that most of us can do. Then sort of you need to know about which order to do things in, and so we'll look at how you go about things. Then following that is some of the technologies that you can use that involve a little bit of expenditure. And then finally we will finish with a case study of a house that has been retrofitted in the Liverpool area. And thank you to John, who is here, for allowing us to take pictures of some of the things that you've been able to install. So thank you. So what is retrofit? And you can read that here. Retrofit is the act of fitting new systems designed for high energy efficiency and low energy consumption to buildings previously built without them. And I can say that to do it once the house is finished can be really challenging. So it can be done, but it's not all straightforward. So this is just something about the basics, really. So on the left there's the cold drafty home, and it's trying to illustrate the different bits of what happens that lead to various, the heat getting lost, so particularly from windows, from lofts and roofs. And then the second one on the right is illustrating really what you can do about it, which is using solar energy and then proofing your home so that you have a warmer loft and you insulate the inside and outside, and also put more windows in that are much better quality and thicker. So we'll cover that a bit more as we go along.
Margaret, can you turn the lights down a bit?
Oh, that's better, thank you. Okay. So this is the first bit, draft proofing your home. So you can install what I used to call as a child sausage dogs along your doors to cut out the draft. And believe it or not, that can be quite effective, particularly if there's a bit of a gap under your doors. You prevent any openings. Even your keyhole leaves a bit of a gap, so you can put a keyhole cover over the top. Your letterbox, if you've just got a letterbox and it hasn't got anything along to make it far more difficult for the letters to come in, but to make it more warmer inside, you can get things like that from a shop like B&Q to improve that. And you just screw it on the inside of your door, and and then weather strips around your windows to stop leaky areas. So they're all things that all of us can do, and that will just reduce a little bit the amount of heat that you lose and keep you warmer for less money. So inside your house, reflective foil behind your radiators. I don't know how effective it is, but it does make some difference. Floor length thermal curtains. So if you've got curtains that are unlined, it does make quite a bit of difference if you get proper lined curtains. And one of the things you can do, you see some rooms with radiators, you can put a shelf over and it's intended to redirect the heat out into the room. And you can also, if you've got wooden floors, do make sure that the gap between the different planks of wood are properly sealed, because that can lead to extra draft.
Margaret, could I turn one of the lights on because I can't really get
Oh right, yeah, okay. So roof insulation, that is really very effective. I think there are people phoning round at the moment about roof insulation. I would check them out quite thoroughly. One of the slides says beware of cowboys, I think. I've certainly had someone ringing me up, and I asked them for the name of their company, and when I looked on Company's House, it was actually no longer functioning. So you do have to be very careful, make sure that the phone calls you get, you check out what you're getting. Wall insulation, there is internal and external wall insulation. I think there's another slide later on about that. And floor insulation. All these things help. So if you feel cold in your house, even putting a carpet down makes quite a lot of difference. External wall insulation, and you're going to have someone talking about that later, who is far more expert than I am, so I'm going to pass over that one. Internal wall insulation. There is a company called Sempertap, or this is glass foam, and John's house was insulated with glass foam because it is a poor insulator. And roof insulation, that's probably not the best picture of roof insulation, but it is important to flag up. Okay, so then floor insulation, double or triple glazed windows, if you can get them. There was a bit of discussion when we were making this about whether it's better to get plastic or wood. Apparently, plastic is better slightly, but if you have wooden frames and you're doing them yourself, it is very much cheaper to just buy triple glazing and chisel out the extra space in your window frames. I think Jess, who made these lovely slides, thought it was at least 80% saving on money. So, you know, don't just rush to replace good quality wooden frames. The saving on energy is fractional compared with the price. Key things to remember, so always get a specialist. They really need to run tests on insulation and applications, because each home is individual. You can't just say this will fit everyone. If you're getting your house properly insulated, you then need to tackle issues such as mould, and we'll come on to that. We also want healthy homes, so consider using natural materials such as wood fibre board and sheep wool, because they are non-toxic and they're very effective. You may get a bit more on that later. If you have timber, yeah, I've covered that. The next thing is, this is the ideal once you've done all your internal and external. So that is, and smart meters and solar panels, which we'll come on to on the next slides, I think. So you can see air source heat pumps, solar panels. These are the more expensive technologies, and the mechanical ventilation heat recovery, known as MVHR in the trade, that is a device, and most of the rooms will have them in this building because it's a big building. There will be something like this that will be making sure that there's proper heat flow through the building, and it also it's connected to the outside, but it filters the air, keeps the warmth in, and also filters out particles that you don't want hanging around to keep your air internally good quality. So if you're insulating, you really need one of these in your roof, and you need someone who is willing to do quite a lot of fiddly work. So please clean your loft first, would be what I would say. So heating controlled monitors, you can't see the one on the left terribly well, but that is a monitor for smart radiators. You can get smart radiators for about £200 for a starter kit, and you put the app on your phone. So on mine, if I wanted to put the living room radiator on and make sure it was cosy and warm, say at 18 degrees, I can do it from my phone from here and just heat one room to the temperature I want it to. That saves a lot of money, because I do think we need to think about only heat the room you're in, because we don't want to waste the energy we've got, both for financial reasons and because it's bad for the planet. Okay, so this is things to remember from this, which are the roof, internal insulation or external insulation, there's so I think that's all I need to say on that one. So this is a retrofit of a typical Liverpool terraced house, and the goals were to achieve NFIT standards. That is the standard that you work to if you are starting with a house that's already built. You can't do as much as if you start from scratch, or someone might say something different later, but that's my understanding. It's very hard to achieve that, but we can all do the best we can. We don't have to be perfect. So there's a letterbox there that's external, because external letterboxes clearly are not letting any heat into your home, so consider getting one of those. That's a fairly cheap option. The internal stud stuff was this that I mentioned earlier, and that was used rather than external insulation, because it was a terrace house and you want to keep the whole street looking the same, so under those circumstances you need to do it internally. And yeah, I think that's that one. This is really about external wall insulation. So around the back of your house doesn't show along the terrace, so you can put external insulation on there. And again, there'll be something on external insulation in more detail later. And so that's the secondary glazing on the house, and that is a monitor for moisture, and 56 is within the normal range. If you get up 70, 80, 90, your home is considered to be quite damp. Most of us wouldn't know about that. That is something that if you have a smart radiator, it does also tell you room by room what the humidity level is. So that is another benefit of getting smart radiators. Solar energy. So anything you have on the outside that is an improvement to your energy systems, like the solar and on the left, you have all the works that make it work inside, so you do need to have a garage or a space where you can put the system. And that water tank is because John's house has thermal water on the roof. You have to have a separate water tank because solar thermal, and if you were only going to do one thing, I'd recommend that. It can really heat a big tank of water in the summer. Not so good in the winter, but it still does warm the water. And the air, yes, so that's the solar energy, and that's the air source heat pump system that we showed you the picture of.
That's actually the heat recovery system.
That's the heat recovery system, sorry. Right. And the final bit that I just want to run through is things to remember. Use of wood fibre board for because it's a nice natural material. Secondary glazing is good instead of removing and replacing with plastic. And particularly if it's recently double glazed. And the VHR system is a good addition, which includes cooling features to avoid the home from overheating, as well as, is that right? As well as
It can do
heating. Okay, it can do both heating and cooling.
but we only use it for making sure the air is fresh throughout.
Yes,
the house.
I've only used it to freshen the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Right, so thank you, folks.
Just coming into quite a
Perfect timing, we just finished. So